Hi, I'm Dr. Mike Evangel. I've been a chiropractic physician for the last 34 years. I'm also the host of the Super Mike Show. I am the host, but it's not my show. This is your show because it's been designed as your survival guide to life. Each and every episode will cover topics such as health, fitness, nutrition, longevity, the environment, and personal safety. Why do you need a survival guide? There's so much misinformation out there today. We'll cut through the confusion. What happens when one expert says one thing and another says the opposite? For example, is drinking red wine healthy for you or a health hazard? What we will do is cut through the confusion, give you the truth. You can then take that truth and share it with others. When you do that, you'll become their holistic hero. With that in mind, let's look at today's topic, the gut. We have gut feelings. We have a gut check. It's called the enteric brain. There's so many neurons around our gut. It's incredible, and it communicates with the gut bacteria, with the microbes within us. We have about 2 to 3 pounds of bacteria in us and on us. I shouldn't say just bacteria, microbes. We have virus, we have protozoa, we have fungus, and they all have a purpose and a function. What that is exactly, we're just learning out today. 100 trillion microbes, many more than the cells in the human body. 85% have to be good to be healthy. We stick in the bad bacteria to get more proliferating, and we get ill. Our guest today is Dr. Robert Silverman, and we'll meet him after this break. And we're back. Our guest today is Dr. Robert Silverman. Dr. Silverman had a bestseller in 2016 on Amazon called Inside Out Health. Also in 2015, Dr. Silverman was named by the American Chiropractic Association Sports Council as a Sports Chiropractor of the Year. He has 6 degrees in nutrition. He's on the advisory board of Functional Medicine University and frequently is on television and does many national blogs for Consumer Health Digest as well as the Wall Street Journal. On TV, he's been on CBS, NBC, Fox, and also CW Associates. Dr. Silverman, welcome to the show.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Now, you have a very interesting story as far as how you got into chiropractic. Could you share that with us, please?
Thank you very much for that. Chiropractors are different than the medical doctors in that we were typically touched by somebody else to want to go in. So I was born with what we call congenital torticollis. So there's an asymmetry of my neck. The medical model at the time in the 60s and 70s didn't have anything to offer me. So in the early 80s, when I was 18 years old, I went to a chiropractor. And in that, the Mark Twain quote comes to mind every time. The 2 most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you know why. When I got off that chiropractic table, I knew I wanted to be a chiropractor. I wanted to help people the way he helped me. And that's been my plight since then. It's exciting.
Let's talk about the gut. That's what we're here for today.
Without question. Do you have the guts to be healthy? What have you done for your guts lately? 80% of our immune cells are in our gut. It's where our macro and micronutrients are absorbed. That's our food and vitamins and minerals. Our gut is the house of protection from what's inside the body to outside the body. So many people don't look at our gut, they'll look at our skin. Like I do. I have a Band-Aid right here and I know to protect it. We don't want anything to come in. They don't realize that our gut protects ourselves from the inside to go through our blood system.
Now, the gut-brain axis, there's a connection between the gut and the brain. Can you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. The gut-brain axis is what we call a bidirectional axis. The gut communicates with the brain communicates with the gut. The gut speaks to the brain within a millisecond. So if you got nervous and stressed, you'd immediately have a brain reaction. If you ate something that you weren't supposed to, which I'm sure we'll go into a large detail on that, you would ultimately affect your brain. The gut and the brain were actually together. And then when you're born, they sort of separate. As you said earlier, so excellently, your gut is your second brain. It controls your enteric nervous system, which has more nerve cells than any other system in your body. So the gut-to-brain axis is a critical element for health. What you do to your brain, you do to your gut. What you do to your brain, you do to your body.
There's a lot of environmental variables and factors because there's chemicals out there that weren't in existence 100 years ago. Genetically modified food has all impact our gut.
Yeah, all these different, what we call environmental triggers and dairy intake triggers. So speaking to what you said, GMO, genetically modified foods, corns and things of that nature, no bueno for gut health. Gluten means glue. It sticks to your intestinal tract and damages your gut. Nobody should eat any gluten. Dairy also has a real adverse effect. And environment, the pesticides, America has 3.63 billion toxins that are sprayed on our crops, and we consume that, which damages our gut. So without question, everybody should start thinking about what we can do to keep our gut healthy.
When the gut isn't healthy, there's a problem with the gut-brain axis. What signs and symptoms do people display?
Well, the obvious signs and symptoms is that you get gas and bloating after you eat. The next sign and symptom is about 45 minutes after you eat, you get something called a brain fog. You get really lethargic, but they're silent symptoms. If anybody suffers from fatigue, if anybody suffers from depression, if anybody suffers from chronic pain, these are all signs that your gut and your gut-to-brain axis is compromised.
And it's probably involved with a lot of inflammation too. Triggers.
Absolutely, because our gut protects our cells, 80% of our immune cells. If it's compromised, we lead to what we call localized, systemic, and ultimately autoimmunity, where the body attacks itself. And that's where that chronic inflammation comes from.
And that takes a while, and that's also related to leaky gut syndrome.
Absolutely, leaky gut. So the idea of gut is semi-permeable because it's able to absorb things. Our small intestine absorbs food, nutrients, and water. When it becomes too permeable, things pass, like undigested food particles, yeasts, parasites. They pass, go into our bloodstream, and our autoimmune system, or our immune system, begins to attack it, leading to localized inflammation, possibly systemic, and autoimmunity. Come on, we're chiropractors. Most people don't realize autoimmunity is osteoarthritis also.
And thank you for that answer. We'll be right back after this commercial break. And welcome back. Your upcoming book, Superhighway to Health, you talk about healing the gut with 7 R's. Please explain.
I put it together for 7 easy steps. Those 7 R's are so all our patients can follow it. R number 1 is reset. They have to reset their lifestyle. I want to make sure people exercise 15 minutes to 30 minutes per day, some form of weight resistance, flexibility, and change their diet. Start eating good quality foods, whole foods, possibly a ketogenic diet, a Mediterranean diet, an anti-inflammatory diet. R number 2 is to remove. We want to remove the bad bacteria. We want to get as much good bacteria in our gut because that good bacteria will communicate through our whole system. We're going to remove it, obviously, like I said, with a good diet. We're going to take some oregano oil, which removes the bad bacteria from the upper airway, some berberine HCl, which removes the bacteria from the lower bowel area for what we call dysbiosis, that unleveling of good and bad bacteria, garlic, great choice, natural antibiotic. And to speak to what you said earlier about the pesticides, let's detox that liver to take the pressure off the gut.
There are other R's too. Please continue.
Absolutely. Let's look to replace stomach acids. That's a critical element. Most people don't realize the number 1 purpose of our gut is for stomach digestion. So betaine HCl and pancreatic enzymes are a great choice to help overall stomach digestion. R number 4 is what I call regenerate, repair, or heal and seal the gut lining. As we talked about earlier, we talked about the gut being too porous, so specific nutrients like glutamine, okra, omega-3 fatty acids, alpha-lipoic acid, and vitamin D are all going to heal and seal the gut, so things that aren't supposed to pass the gut lining do pass it. We don't want that to happen anymore. The 5th R, interestingly enough, is to re-inoculate. That's when we want to get that good bacteria in there. So we're going to use a plethora of different kinds of bacteria like Saccharomyces boulardii, L. rhamnosus, and L. plantarum. So I like to ask all my patients, did you take a probiotic today? Most of them say, yeah, I had yogurt. It's like, that's not enough. It's not going to work. The 6th R is to reintroduce. You know, you and I both know that if we don't let people eat, they're leaving and using the door. So at that point, we're going to reintroduce some foods that may have at that time before upset their stomach, but now don't because we've sealed the intestinal lining and now allow them to digest. And last but not least, we want them to retain our health. Chiropractic is all about being proactive, so we want to retain their health by good lifestyle, healthy diet, and good quality supplements. And of course, chiropractic care.
Of course. Well said. Now, just explain a little bit more detail. I want to explain about this. That leaky gut, when I first heard the term leaky gut, I thought there's a hole in the gut. which is really not too far from the truth, because those little pores are called tight junctions. I end up calling them loose junctions, where they open up too big. So you can't take the Queen Mary and drive through the front door. This doesn't fit. But if you take a big enough area, it'll fit. So these molecules are too large to get into circulation. That's what causes all the inflammation and starts the whole cascade of events to occur. So that's something that I just wanted to go into a little more detail so that people could really explain in more layman's terms. Because sometimes we have a tendency to get too technical, I know.
Right. I love that idea that the tight junctions are supposed to stay tight, but now you just said they were loose.
Call them loose junctions.
Loose junctions.
I made that up.
That's great. Put your name on it. I would go with it.
I don't think I can get a trademark on it, but you never know.
You never know.
Now, I sent you a photograph of myself in 1981 having a 2x4 broken over me. It was a demonstration in front of Town Hall, really City Hall in Paterson, New Jersey. It was a demo we did back then. It was a little crazy back then, but that showed extreme gut health and gut tightness and the core, which didn't even talk about the core back then. But you talk a lot about the core and strengthening the core. And by the way, do not try that at home. That's for professionals only, because I don't want to hear about anybody being broken by a 2x4. So what should we do to strengthen our core?
Well, you know, it's interesting. Some of the things we shouldn't do that was done in the past is no sit-ups. It's damaging your lower back. It also tightens your hip flexors. So no more sit-ups, no more crunches, no more leg raises. All deleterious to your spine health. You want spinal stiffness and you want spine health. The exercises that we recommend are front planks, side planks, and something called a bird dog, where you're extending your opposite arm and opposite leg. Your core should not bend. Your core should not move. It should be held stiff so you can move your periphery, your arms and legs. No more sit-ups, no more crunches, no more leg raises.
So a lot of people out there, I'm sure, are doing the wrong thing.
I am astonished at times to see how many people are still doing the wrong thing.
But this is actually very bad for our business, because we're giving people good advice how to avoid going to a chiropractor.
I always said it's bad for you and good for me. I agree.
But I always think that helping people is the right thing to do.
Oh, I agree. And I think that's why you have the show, and that's why we share what we do, because there's so many people that need our help, and it's just such a large population. And unfortunately, in America, we're unhealthy. So let's start getting healthy, everybody.
And we'll be back right after the break. And we're back. Okay, this is a huge question. We could spend a whole episode on it, probably a whole series of episodes. What's your advice to do in general to improve your health and vitality?
Oh man, I would love getting the stage on this one. So what I recommend for everybody is start taking care of their health and start being accountable for the health. So I'll give you some easy implemental plans. Food, follow my GPS. No gluten, no processed food, no sugar. Take care of your DNA. No dairy, no nicotine, no artificial sweeteners. I know that it's hard. We talk to patients all the time when we say dairy. No dairy, no nicotine, no artificial sweeteners. Get a better night's sleep. Don't smoke, exercise, and guess what? I would recommend enjoying life and no sit-ups.
And no sit-ups.
No sit-ups.
And of course, avoiding things like genetically modified food and toxins and food additives and preservatives, all those chemicals, because there's tens of thousands of chemicals that are in the environment today that were not in the environment 100 years ago. So the thing I always tell my patients is we have no genetic predisposition to deal with it because it wasn't around. At least arsenic and cyanide have been around for a long time.
Well,
I don't recommend those as supplements, by the way.
Right, or at least in low dosage, right? I agree with you. The toxins are a problem. So that's why I speak to the idea of organic. So organic is 95% organic. All those non-organic foods are full of pesticides. One other thing, just to speak about, interestingly enough, the most sprayed items in America are cotton, tobacco, and coffee. So if you could just go from regular coffee to organic coffee, that which is the most consumed beverage in America, the average American consumes 3.2 cups of coffee per day, you would be precipitously decreasing the amount of toxins that you take in. Sugar. Sugar is a toxin. The average American consumes 160 pounds of sugar per day. It is the most
per year.
Per year. You're right, per year. Oh my goodness.
You just tested me now, I know.
I did, you caught me. And the interesting thing about sugar is it works with the reward center of the brain. It's the most used drug in America. When mice were offered sugar versus cocaine, 94% of mice took sugar. Could you imagine the line if we all of a sudden made sugar legal? If it wasn't, it would be miles down. So we consume too much sugar. We take too many processed foods. We need to go back to true whole eating and hopefully not eat quite as much and in a shorter period of time.
Thank you. Great advice. The next question, opioids and over-the-counter non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs are being overused. What's new in chiropractic for treating people in pain?
Opioids, I mean, I don't even think we have to talk about it. You and I both know it's a no bueno, it's a thumbs down. Non-steroid anti-inflammatories, Aleve, Advil, ibuprofen. They decrease pain, but they impair healing. They don't allow for joint cartilage synthesis. They don't allow for muscles to heal. They don't allow for bones to heal. And they allow for, now we coined it, they allow for loose junctions both in the gut and in the brain. What's new in chiropractic and what I would recommend for overall pain is low-level laser. Low-level laser, which also has been synonymously called photobiomodulation. It works with light, photochemical versus heat. So you flash a light, photons go in the area, and we start a healing cascade in cells. So there's lasers out there that have FDA clearances for any part of your body and decrease pain and inflammation.
And it stimulates the mitochondria to produce more ATP molecules, because the first priority of a cell is to stay alive. Second is to do its job, and the third is to heal if it has energy left over. Unfortunately, many times cells don't have that energy left over to heal, and the low-level laser gives it more energy to heal and to recuperate.
Healing is a cellular process. It stimulates that mitochondria for efficient ATP and decreases free radicals so we don't have damage to the body, and anti-aging. So laser has been a panacea for me in my office, and patients love it and apply it to all the different body parts. Everybody should consider that as using it in their armamentarium for treating pain.
Fasting is a very trendy topic today. What are your feelings on fasting?
I'm a big proponent of fasting. So a lot of people talk about what we call intermittent fasting, and that's sort of a misnomer or misunderstood. Intermittent fasting technically means eating for 5 days and decreasing your calories, or almost not eating for 2. What we're really referring to when you hear numbers like 12 and 12 and 16 and 8 is time restrictive eating. The first number, 12, 16, means the fast. The second number, 8 or 12, means the window in which you eat. A lot of good positive literature. The one that I like the best is fast mimicking diet. Fast mimicking diet was created by Dr. Longo of the longevity diet. I use it with a lot of my patients. It's a 5-day, low-calorie, plant-based fast, which enables people to have a health benefit. They use autophagy. Autophagy is the cell's way of cleaning themselves and actually clearing and producing energy for new molecules. It has a very positive effect on the immune system. In addition, it's great for stem cell regeneration. And there's been some studies that show that it helps with the microbiota for irritable bowel disease. So I like the fast mimicking diet. And in any case, I like everybody to eat in a window because they decrease their calories. It's great for metabolic health. It's great for overall health. I think everybody should include fasting in their armamentarium.
And that window should stop probably about 3 hours before you go to sleep.
Great takeaway, and you probably want to eat breakfast in the morning. Grandma was right.
It is the most important meal of the day.
It is without question the most important meal, and don't eat late at night. All these proverbial wives' tales, there's a lot of truth in them.
Well, those grandmothers were correct about a lot more things than fasting.
Absolutely.
I'd like to thank you for being a guest on my show. You've been a great guest.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
There is only one truth. Each and every episode will continue to do our best to bring the truth to you, with the hope that you and your loved ones can live healthier, safer, and more fulfilling lives. I'm Dr. Mike. Thanks for watching our show. Until next time,